Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show.
It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way.
Morning, morning, morning.
Oh, awfully loud. I'm going to have to turn you down a lot. Hello, how are you?
I'm so sorry. I'm highly excited, Judith. That's how I am.
Yes, I can tell.
Despite the fact it's pouring icy rain here and there is still thunderstorm, I am extremely excited.
I can hear most of that. It's pouring with rain. Is that what you said?
Pouring with icy rain.
Icy rain, oh.
Yeah, it's very, very got snow on Prophet Elias Mountain.
Yes, I've seen the snow pics, and not just you, but Turkey and Sicily and all sorts.
I know. Most uncharacteristic weather. How's it there then?
Well, there's a snow warning, but it says it's very unlikely to happen.
In London, it's always a bit warmer anyway, isn't it?
Mm.
So how's your week been?
It's been nice. You tell me about yours first.
Well, I want to tell you about the exciting thing in my What's Fueled My Fire, but it's been very cold. We've been wearing layers, but we've been doing the odd trudging up and down to the village. And we've met some new friends. We're always meeting new friends in various places. And we've discovered a new treat, which is called glue wine, which is German, Austrian, and it's mulled wine with spices, and it's absolutely blooming delicious.
Yes, it's what you have when you go skiing.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's what you have when you go skiing. I was completely amazed to see you drinking that in Greece. Wrong country, but never mind, it works.
It's a little taverna that the Brits freak, and but unfortunately you can't sit outside right now because it's just too cold, and you can't sit inside because all the Greeks smoke. So we've had to find one where not so many people smoke, and it's the one that the Brits go to, and they do this glue wine because they also have a lot of German and Austrian customers. And it's a lovely place. One whole wall, Judith, is full of books. There's an English section and a German section. So you can bring your old paperbacks and swap them around in this place. And it's like having glue wine in an old library. It's wonderful.
Okay. I think for the true, authentic Austrian and German experience, you have to say glue wine.
Glue wine. Okay, I'll say that in future then.
Yeah.
But it is delicious.
Indeed,
I don't
yes.
normally like spicy things. I don't like Christmas, I don't like mince pie.
No, me neither.
Flavours, but
Me neither. But it's amazing what we'll take on board when we're cold, isn't it?
Yes. And we have one of those. They come in a mug and they're heated up. But I think they probably boil a lot of the alcohol out. But we definitely were glowing as we reeled up the road to Katerina's supermarket afterwards. Yes, so the camera arrived, unboxed it, still not perfect, but very, very nice photos, as you've probably seen. The one thing it's missing is a place to put in an external microphone. And Sarah said, well, what do you expect when you do absolutely zero research? But, really, reading the specs of a camera is not my strong point, put it that way. But I'm going to manage.
Are you sending it? I was going to say, are you sending it back or managing? You're managing. Right.
I think, for what I want it for, it's fine. I think to see whether the phase passes or not, it's fine. So I'm just going to work with what I've got for now.
Okay.
So what about your week then?
Well, I've started on some things that what is it they say on Mastermind? I've started, so I'll finish. I've started on some of the things that I intend to do more of, and I've read a novel and a half, which is weird because I love reading, but I haven't been able to do it for an awful long time, and I don't know why not. But I said in my new group, about which more later, that I was going to read more and deliberately take steps to keep away from the screens more. And so I've been reading on my old-fashioned Kindle, which is technically a screen, but it's not backlit, so it doesn't give me the headaches that iPads and laptops do. Yeah. And it's that time of year where I have to go to 12 movies before the Oscars at the end of February. So I'm starting with 2 films this coming weekend. In fact, I'm going to one tomorrow, Thursday, and one on Saturday. They've already been award winners in the Golden Globes, and I'm going to brunch on Sunday with my two closest friends. So I'm being busy, is what I'm being, Nicola. I'm being busy having fun.
Busy enjoying yourself. I've started a science fiction trilogy, and they're proper books, and I can only read them in bed because I have to, my eyesight is such that I have to take my contact lenses out to read a book nowadays. And it's really, I'm really enjoying it. I'm halfway through the first one. They're all big three chunky tomes. So I've got at least 3 months worth of reading here, I reckon.
Okay.
Because obviously you fall asleep and drop it on your head.
Yes.
That is when you're in bed with your hot water bottle, which is a utter treat that I have missed out on for 55 years. We used to have hot water bottles back in the very early 60s when my mum, she did have central heating, but we must have been turned down because I haven't had a hot water bottle for years. But oh my God, it's delicious, Judith.
Well, soon you two will be able to go on those programmes on BBC Two about people who go back in time to live without modern day conveniences. You two will be, you'll be primed for that.
I know, with our fire lighting and our electric radiators and our 7 layers and our hot water bottles. Sarah's got 2 hot water bottles now. I've only got 1. I'm fine with 1. She even sits with hers on the sofa, wrapped in a blanket. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Bless her. So what's fueled your fire this week then?
Well, I had a fascinating weekend last weekend, and I haven't written blog posts about it yet, but I will do because I'm still thinking about it. But I've got one famous client, and he booked himself into my diary on Saturday. He's an ad hoc pay what you want client, and I hadn't seen him for the whole of 2016, so it was nice to see him on the first Saturday of 2017. And then on Sunday, same thing. A friend who I talked to a lot on Skype, used to be a client and is now sort of a client-colleague friend hybrid, who I've been down in the Christmas holidays to pick her brains about a problem of mine, and then she wanted to be in my diary on Skype on Sunday to talk about a problem of hers. And they both wanted to talk about the same thing, which is that they're both very successful. But the guy on Saturday, who is more successful than you and me and Sarah stuck together, his first question was, is business always this difficult?
Oh, that's interesting.
To which my answer to the question was yes, because it's as difficult as you make it. And on Sunday, the question was similar but different. It was about, I'm sick of it grinding on like this. And really the calls were about ambition, the meaning of life, success, fear, and security. They were all about the big issues, really. And I was forced to remind the guy on Saturday about the Harvard MBA and the Brazilian fisherman, because he was talking about ramping up his business. And Michael Neal always taught me this great coaching question, which is, and if you had a ramped up business, i.e. one that's even more successful than his is now, what would you have then? What would you have? What is it what's the value you're trying to get at the end of this? And his driver is similar to yours, which is he wants to have a business that's successful according to his own criteria. So he wants to view himself in his own eyes as successful. I'm not sure how much he cares or not about third parties' perception of his success, but it's about ambition and success. And I think sometimes if you're driven for both of those things, you won't be satisfied until you have them. And it's only when you've got them that you go, it's not really all that much, is it?
Great client challenge of the week.
Well, at the moment, it's still fueling my fire, which is I haven't made up my mind what I think about any of it. So it was just enough to have a fascinating, thought-provoking. They're January conversations, which is interesting because I know that ties in with our challenge of the week. They're January conversations, which is what's the meaning of life. I've had a lot of balance conversations and meaning of life conversations in the last week. And I think that for both of these people, I could see that they'd already made it, and they couldn't.
That's really interesting. Is any external? So yeah, someone said something. I think it was Sarah. She said to me the other day, "Oh, I'm not driven like you. I'm not driven for success." I thought, am I really driven for success? I don't actually care about success. I don't care what anyone thinks of me. I just want to be at a place where I feel satisfied that I've achieved what I wanted to achieve when I started out on the journey.
I think you are. I agree with Sarah. I think you are driven for success, and that's just another way of describing it.
Yeah. It's not success. It's not money or fame or what is success? That's a great challenge of the week because it's different things for different people, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think to me, it's just about being able to inspire Phoebe and Nelson to living another way is possible and enjoyable and achievable.
Well, you've already done that.
No, I haven't really.
Yeah, you have. They're making strides in that direction.
They are, yes, but I haven't got to the point where they could point to me and say, "Look, Mummy's done it," and look, I don't feel that they could point to me and say, "Look, Mummy's done it," and for their dad to be able to say,
hang on a minute. How long have you been self-employed?
20 years.
Yes. Well, you and these two people from last weekend. How much more proof do we need, other than that we've provided for ourselves over 20 years?
Well, I think they need to be able to look at my lifestyle and see it as good as their dad's lifestyle or their other people's lifestyle who work for a living in a traditional way. And at the moment, they can't do that because I'm living in, a non-centrally heated house in Greece away from everyone else. I mean, although that was chosen for different reasons, but I don't think that they could point to my lifestyle and say, that's a great lifestyle yet.
Have you checked that with them?
Well, they're so loyal, they wouldn't say anything horrid anyway, bless them.
There's again, it's not about horrid, is it? It's about not making assumptions about what other people believe and think. And they might think that the freedom to go and do that is precisely what success is.
Yeah, they might. It's a good discussion. I think we should come back to it on a client charge of the week, definitely.
Okay, all right.
Once you've absorbed it and had more thoughts about it, perhaps that would be a great discussion. Because, your clients obviously have a great lifestyle, presumably.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. So let's think about what success means. So what's fueled my fire? Have you finished your bit?
I have.
Just checking. Because I'm about to go off on one. My app launched today, Judith.
I saw it. Yes, very exciting.
Not just in the iTunes store either. It's in the Android store as well, the Google Play store, or whatever it's called. And it's very, very exciting indeed. It's been a relatively painless process because the person I've been working with has been so good. But there has been a week of frustration this week because he's in Australia and he'll send me an email and I don't see it till I'm asleep, or it arrives when I'm asleep and I don't see it till either the middle of the night when I get up for a wee or, first thing in the morning, and then he's gone to bed by then. So there's been a tiny bit of frustration around that, but it's not too bad. But, and there's been a few things that I think I could have done at the beginning. A few things I could have done at the beginning and that would have speeded things up a bit at the end. But it looks gorgeous. It's working, which is always a plus. There's one thing that I need to get sorted, which is that the podcast part of it doesn't look fantastic because on certain platforms, our logo doesn't render very well in the repeat format that it throws up. And we can't get the RSS feed to pick up the different individual pictures for each episode. But we're going to get a proper. I'm going to get a graphic designer to make us a proper image for that section. And in version 1.2, which will be following very shortly, that will be fixed. So that's my only gripe about it. Really, is that our podcast bit doesn't look great. Although it does have every individual episode name on it, and people can click straight through to the website to listen or download or whatever.
Okay.
So I've sent them to the website instead of sending them straight to the iTunes thing because obviously 50% of people are on Android, so it's better they go to the website and choose their own.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited, and it's free, and I'm promoting it with. Obviously, I've gone out to my Facebook groups and my profile and my page. I'm doing a competition where people can download the app, write a review, and then send a screenshot of the review to me to enter a competition where they can win 45 minutes on the phone with me talking about their digital marketing. There's a page on it in the app where people can go straight to the membership site, and if they're not a member, they get a link to join up if they want to. I'm going to go back to all the people 500 odd people who filled in my survey over the last couple of months, telling me what their one biggest challenge with their digital marketing is. I'm going to go back to them individually and say, you said that your challenge was this. If you download the app, you can enter a competition to win a session with me, and we can talk about this issue, particularly. So that's going to be quite labour intensive, but I'm going to do it because I think it'll be really important to do a personal email about their actual challenge, rather than just a blanket generic email which might go into promotions. So the goal is to get as many reviews as possible in the first week with the app, and then after that it's just going to be a lovely tool not only for clients to be able to log straight into the membership area from their mobiles, but as a marketing tool. So I'll let you know how it goes.
Marvellous. Well done to you.
Very exciting. Would you like to hear about 18 proven ways to enjoy a successful location-independent business and the freedom to live wherever you like? Own It The Summit is a pack of 18 dynamite interview recordings with globally successful entrepreneurs, sharing their secrets of the real laptop lifestyle. We handpicked each of these people to interview to show you how to set yourself free to design your ideal lifestyle, whether working from home or travelling the world, while running a successful virtual business that you absolutely love. Just visit ownitthesummit.com and get your hands on these life-changing recordings today. So, client challenge of the week.
Okay, ready?
Right, so New Year's resolutions. We're 2 weeks into the new year. Did you make any? How did you decide what you wanted to change? How did you decide what you really want in the first place? To which you will have to end up with making resolutions to achieve it. What external support systems are you using to keep them? All of these things have been playing out on Facebook quite a lot in various groups that me and Sarah are in. So I just wondered what your thoughts were on New Year's resolutions, what your clients are doing with them, and how they're getting on.
Let's go back to the beginning and do one question at a time. What's the first question?
Okay. Did you make any New Year's resolutions, and did your clients make them?
I put some statements of intent, dreams, plans, goals and intentions in our New Year's Eve edition of the podcast, New Year's edition of the podcast. I haven't done any work on it other than that. I would normally, and if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have done it. I'm so over New Year's resolutions and have been ever since I worked out that most people fail in them within about 48 hours. And that was a couple of decades ago, even before I became a coach, I think. However, I have had a lot of conversations with clients in the last week, and not a single client has turned up and said, I'm terribly pleased with myself. I've done all my work on my resolutions and I know absolutely what I want and blah, blah, blah. Most of them have turned up and said, I couldn't really get back to work last week at all, but here I am this week and I haven't done any soul searching or planning or resolutions. So there's been an awful lot of activity around less. So people clearing out their inboxes, people unrolling from newsletters. I've employed this thing, a few of us have actually, called Facebook Purity, which means you don't need to see the trending column down the right-hand side or any posts about Trump or Brexit or the Big Brother house or Kardashians or selfies, and you program it individually on your own Facebook interface to tell it what you want to see less of.
And was it called Facebook Purity?
Facebook Purity. I can't link to it on Facebook because Facebook don't...
Well, okay. That's it.
Yes, there you go. You install it as an extension and you just tell it. There you go, fluff busting. Its Facebook page is called Fluff Busting brackets FB close brackets Purity, and you program it. You tell it what you want to see more and less of, and already, because I've taken some apps off my iPad, turned away from the screens and started to read more rather than watch more, and see a lot less celebrity half-naked selfie shit on Facebook. I'm a happier person. So less is a theme, a recurring theme that my clients seem to want, and balance. I've had a lot of conversations about balance, which, like success, is different to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't struggle with all of that because I totally ignore the stuff on the sidebar, and I only like things that are positive and nice. And so I think over the years I've trained my Facebook not to show me any of that, and I'm pretty rigorous about objecting to things if anything strays into my timeline that I don't like. So perhaps I've just done it, but yeah, it's a nice tool. I've got to say, I don't see why Facebook wouldn't like it.
I think down the column down the right-hand side about trending, which you tell it whether or not you want to see politics or celebrities or something else, it just makes you realise that what Facebook is interested in is, I don't mean Facebook from the Zuckerberg perspective, Facebook from the user perspective. There's all sorts of things which make me despair about the human race. Things are the wrong focuses.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of that celebrity stuff is just link bait stuff to take you to junk sites.
Also, I think, Prince dying, David Bowie dying, George Michael dying, fair enough. But Peter Sarsgaard, you had one hit. Honestly, everybody dies in the end. That's not really news. You know what I mean?
So you're only allowed to get people upset about your dying if you've had a few hits.
Well, not a few hits. If you've been part of people's psyche, and also the horrible. I'm over it. I'm over this. Oh, isn't it ghastly that all these celebrities died? I don't want to be focusing on death and Donald Trump. That's the point.
Yeah.
So, and the conversation.
It's going to get worse, that Trump stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And it hasn't done yet. It will have done, but in fact, this episode goes out on Inauguration Day. The other thing, your question was tools. Not really, no, except the 5-minute journal, where the crucial question at the end of every day is, how could I have made today better? So I'm not really a New Year's resolution person. I do think it's important to have, well, we know it's well documented that those of us that write down they're in my notebook and they're on our podcast, so those of us who set an intention will achieve more than those of us that don't. But I'm not bothered to people going through endless time-consuming procedures to get there. If they don't want to do it, fine. If they do want to do it, fine.
Yeah, I mean, Sarah was saying that, she said suggested a couple of things that she'd been seeing in her groups, because she's in different groups to me. And she was saying, a lot of people are saying, how do they know how do people decide what they even want? And I said, well, Judith's just going to laugh out loud at that one, because that's one where you'll just say, well, you want what you want, and you take it.
Well, I think that is something that I learned from Michael Neal. I generally don't have any difficulty working out what I want. Now, earlier in my life, when I didn't know what I wanted, we're talking, I don't know, late teens, early 20s, I knew what I didn't want. So I used to steer away from what I didn't want with an open mind about what I might discover. So that's one way of operating if you don't know what you want. Michael Neal would say that we do all know what we want, but it's either buried so deeply or we're so overprotective of it that we don't want to say it out loud and share it with other people for fear they might laugh at us, or they might say, yeah, you've been saying that for a long time, you haven't done anything about it, or they don't believe they can have it, or they don't believe they deserve it, all sorts of sort of complex pop psychology over the top. But it's in there somewhere, and we do know really. Yeah.
So what that old coaching chestnut question, what would it look like if you did know, what you want?
Yes. Yeah, and if you did know, what would it be? Yes, exactly right. And what happens then, it's a bit like the game you play in tap where you ask people on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is this? And while you're thinking, I have no idea, your body goes 8. And the thing with the question, if you did know, what would it look like, is the answer comes even while you're going, oh, this isn't going to work. It does, so it's in there. It's in there. And I think quite a lot of us, I wouldn't include myself in this, actually, because, of course, if you've been doing self-development for half of your adult life, you tend to know this stuff. But It's buried quite deep, Nicola. It's buried quite deeply, but it is in there.
Yeah, I think what you and I tend to do is underestimate how much personal development we have done, which gives us a lot of, oh, God almighty, when I think how much journaling I've done, I mean, 10 notebooks full since 2011. And how much podcast listening I've done, and how much listening to my coaching other people I've done. It's really, and my survey really threw this up as well, that people are at the beginning of their journey, and I don't mean this in any way horribly. I mean, I got an email the other day from a chap that just made me think, oh my God. He said, basically, I send out a 9-word email. There's a 9-word email. It's a Dean Jackson thing. It's basically, if you've got an autoresponder and people go through your entire autoresponder and don't take any action at all, don't buy anything, don't contact you, whatever, and they're still on your mailing list, you send out this 9-mail email and it says, quick question is what's in the subject line. Just put quick question, and then you don't put any salutation or anything. You just put, tell me, are you still interested in blah? Which is what they signed up for your email list for. So mine would be, tell me, are you still interested in marketing your business better online or starting an online business? And yours would be, tell me, are you still interested in, what would that be, starting a business? Yeah, but he replied, and it gets you a lot of interesting replies, this, and it's really worth it if people have been right through the funnel and haven't responded. And he just said, mine said something along the lines of, are you still interested in starting an online business? And he said, yes, but I'm going to have to pass because I haven't been able to get the funds. And I thought, in those few words is such a story, such a wealth of stuff that is not being worked on. Because, A, you don't need any funds to start an online business. You need $10 for a domain name. And in fact, you don't even need that. You can go to blogger.com and start something. But it was just the wealth of non-thinking that was going on in there. And I think that's what's going on. People who don't know what they want, they need to just work on that until they know what they want, and then they need to work on what they need to do to get what they want. But I'm like you, I haven't made any New Year's resolutions. I mean, I listened to something very good from Gary Vee where he got really quite angry about how people who put off something to a specific date are dooming themselves to failure, because if you actually wanted to make a change, you'd make a change today, right now, and take action today.
Quite. I think that's the main reason why I didn't have any New Year's resolutions, is because in the main, most of the time, I'm doing the stuff I know to bring about the changes I want.
Yeah. And this isn't about being smug either, is it? Because it's taken a lot of work to get to this place. But I knew.
Oh, ages, yeah.
Yeah, years. I've always known that I wanted to do something. I always felt that I wanted to do something. I didn't necessarily know what it was at the beginning, but I just kept trying things till I found it. That's what you've got to keep doing, really.
I'm feeling we've got a bit of a delay, so bear with me. We might have to do RAF pilots over and out. I'm feeling some sympathy with that man that replied to you saying he couldn't get the funds, because I'm feeling, I'm hallucinating what his life might be. And it may be that he's using up all of his emotional and mental resources commuting to a job he hates and being trying to hang it all together at home.
Yeah, totally. And I can remember what that was like, especially if you've got kids as well, because it does feel like every moment is taken up by other people. But having said that, you can squeeze out some little pockets of time. I mean, I used to read personal development books on the tube, which was my only time between children and work, because I knew that I had to do something. Once I'd had that revelation that nobody was coming to save me, and I remember exactly where I was and where I was standing and who I was talking to at that time. I remember that when I had that thing that there was no bloody prince coming on a white horse to save me, I just had to do something then. I had to, I couldn't keep waiting any longer. I had to just start taking action.
And that question that Chris Barrow always asks about, is it not now or not never? I think your correspondent was saying not now.
Yes. And I'm going to reply to him as kindly and nicely as I possibly can and ask him some more questions, because I might be able to help him, just by asking a few questions. You never know. But if he comes back and says no,
I wouldn't ask him questions. I would tell him what you can do, what he can do now without time and without money.
Yeah. Give him a few ideas.
So read personal development books on the tube, and bang up a website on a third-party platform that's free.
Yeah, and just document your own journey to going from zero.
Yeah, I'm not convinced about that anymore. However, I do think that when he was replying to a question you hadn't asked, he was saying, haven't got the funds to pay you to help me at the moment. And actually, you weren't asking him that. You were asking him if he was still interested in marketing his business online. And he basically hasn't got an ounce of anything spare in any direction. So I would just send back perhaps a link to a blog post about the ideas to people who are time poor or money poor. And they might be two separate blog posts, actually.
When someone uses the words like get funds, I always think that they mean something like startup capital or stuff like that. I mean, it's the wording.
No, I think perhaps was your email sequence targeted at getting him to pay you some money for something?
Well, the bit he's in is that's so far back in the mists of time. It's unreal, because I put people into a sequence of stuff that is supposed to help them if they choose not to work with me, and it happens after they've chosen not to work with me. So I start, obviously I give them a load of stuff before I ask the question, and then I give them a load of stuff afterwards as well, and then they get this 9-word email right at the end. So I was, these already.
And what this is bringing, what this is bringing to my mind is we can't help all of the people all of the time.
No, but the fact that he replied means that he wants some help, doesn't it? Is it a cry for help to reply? I wouldn't hit reply to anyone if I wasn't reading their emails and didn't want any help. I think it's a cry for help, perhaps. Anyway, we're getting off the topic of New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
But okay. So what,
yes, tell me about it.
I haven't made any because I'm working on my stuff all the time, like you. And I know what I want. But there was a time where I didn't know what I want last year, but that was the grieving process. But as soon as I started to feel better, I started to know exactly what I wanted again. And it's like, that's the New Year thing for me. I've definitely turned a corner with Christmas, New Year on that front. So I definitely know what I want, which is to travel the world for the next year and then go and get a luxury penthouse flat in Brighton. Sometimes I think I might want to stay here, and sometimes I think, no, Brighton is. I want to be near the kids, but somewhere where I can have fun as well. Easy fun, out the door fun.
Yeah.
Not travel for 4.5 hours, if not further. Oh my God. Okay, so let's think about the people that might be listening that have set New Year's resolutions and are starting to waver. I would say be kind to yourself. If you can't keep a New Year's resolution, then it wasn't meant to be in the first place. So how about thinking, could I set part of a New Year's resolution? So scale it down a little bit, chunk it down a bit, make it easier for yourself. Do it, the 5-2 thing. Perhaps I'll keep my resolution on 5 days out of 7 and not keep it on the other 2, whatever it is. That seems to work for lots of people, doesn't it? That 5-2 thing.
I think this question at the end of the 5-minute journal, how could I have made today better? Quite often for me, I was explaining to a client this morning that I sometimes put, honestly, I have no idea. But other days, they're quite simple things that I keep needing to do. And as you see yourself repeating, I still haven't done that yet. It's only one little thing. It's only one little day. One little thing on one little day adds up over time.
Do you also say what was great about today, or something positive? And
the question before that, the 3 amazing things that happened today. The evening questions are 3 amazing things that happened today, and the last one is how could I have made today even better?
I think this is the one single thing that you can do to help yourself change your life, find out what you want, stick to things, whatever. It is just writing about it as if you were talking to someone. Because, it's been the whole scientific proof that it really helps your brain in terms of neuroplasticity. And you can't, if you're sitting there facing a blank page, you can't lie to yourself, can you? If you're asking, what's the point in lying to yourself?
Yeah.
If you're going to burn the books after, which or throw them away, or whatever, nobody's going to read them.
Yeah.
So just that act of journaling will help you enormously to keep your New Year's resolutions. All right. So just to recap, then there are tools, aren't there? There's lots of tools that people can use to, apart from just a notebook. There's lots of things that you can use. I mean, you've mentioned one already, which is if you set a New Year's resolution to be happier and not get distracted by bad stuff on Facebook. There's Facebook purity, as you told us earlier. There's also that one that I use on Chrome, which stops the timeline going past you. You can still see the sidebars, but you don't get distracted by the timeline. That's particularly good for people who are working on things like Facebook ads for clients, because otherwise you get horribly distracted by the timeline stuff. The other things are there are lots of apps for everything, aren't there? There's, if you want to meditate more, there's that app where you can meditate, for 10 minutes during the day. There's apps for everything nowadays.
Yes.
If you, for example, you wanted to get more digital marketing help, you could download my app.
There is an app for everything, and isn't it interesting how you, the app queen, also recommends journaling in it with a notebook and pencil?
Oh, totally, yes. You can't journal any other way, I don't think. I don't think you can. I mean, what was it Steve used to do? He used to do 760 words a day or something to try and get his writing up. I can't do that at all. If you're writing a blog post, sure, but not if you're writing privately. But you used to find it easier to type than write. So, you've got to work with what works for you, really, haven't you?
Yes. I think that 750words.com, which is a nice thing, works very well as an alternative to handwriting morning pages.
Yeah, because if you've got 60 words a minute and your brain connects to your fingers and out of the keyboard, then that is a good stream of consciousness thing. In fact, that's what I do when I write blog posts, a stream of consciousness. Or anything might be good. So can you think of any other apps apart from the meditation one? I use a Fitbit because I want to move more. So that's a way of, because I definitely find that makes a difference. If I've got a Fitbit on, I'm much more likely to want to go and walk to get my steps up.
Yeah, I think that is motivating.
All sorts of things, yeah. What you measure increases, isn't it? So if you've got a way of measuring what you're doing and improving it, competition is another one if you're a competitive kind of person. My Fitbit connects up via the app to other people I know that are on Fitbit, so we can see there's a league table of friends, how many steps people have taken. And I know Wendy, one of the people I'm connected to on Fitbit, she goes out, they travel the world all the time, and she actually goes and marches around hotel corridors to try and get her steps up if she hasn't done enough job today. There's a few laps of the hotel corridors. Perhaps if anyone's got any other great ideas, come along to the Own It, the podcast private Facebook group and let us know, because I'm sure we could even start a conversation going about this in there, couldn't we?
I agree, because of course if people do that after they hear this on the 20th of January, it's not too late. You can start a New Year's resolution in any heartbeat moment, can't you?
And any day of the year, indeed.
Yeah.
Decide to change and then change. And then just find as many supportive environments. I mean, what was it with Thomas Leonard used to talk about supportive environments, didn't he? Environments that help you achieve your goals.
Yeah.
It's all about self-awareness, isn't it, really?
And I think a community where other people know you're doing it and want you to do well and are paying attention if you don't. That's how slimming groups work, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, there's an element of gamification. That's another one. A lot of people are using gamification now to help people learn things because
that's how Duolingo works. My French app.
Yes, we tried a Greek app the other day, but I couldn't make out a word they were saying, so it didn't go very well.
You haven't picked the easiest language there.
No, I know that. But the problem is, people start seeing us around, they think we can speak Greek because we've been here all winter now, so they start talking to you in Greek, and it's deeply embarrassing. So I said to a couple of policemen outside Katerina's yesterday, and they said Happy New Year thing, but I didn't have a clue what they were saying, so I had to say, I'm sorry, I don't understand that bit.
What is the Greek for Happy New Year? Do you know?
Polychronia.
Okay.
Yes, I think. My pronunciation may be off, and if Daphne's listening, she'll be wincing. But they're a very handsome Greek policeman, I have to say, which is what prompted me to say hello in the first place. I feel like a man in the uniform as far as I'm concerned. Right, moving swiftly on. Project updates.
Well, word of the week.
Oh, yes, word of the week.
Have you got one?
Yeah, I have, yeah. It's a new one,
Go
too.
on. Tell me.
V-zine. Like an e-zine, but with a V.
Okay.
It's a new word I've just made up to describe the project I'm going to be launching this week or next, which I'm going to tell you a little bit more about in Who or What's Impressed.
Okay. Does it have a hyphen, do you think, between the V and the Z?
Not. No hyphen at all.
Oh, right, okay.
It's a new word, Judith. Harder
to say without the hyphen. Because actually, without the hyphen, it reads vazine.
Vazine. Oh, it could be a Vazine indeed. a more glamorous pronunciation. Vazine. Vazine. Damn. Guitar. Stop me now, please. What's your
I'm going for Joy, having soft launched my I Love My Life project, and I've noticed that joy is in words that you use every day, like enjoy and enjoyment. And that sounds obvious, but it wasn't obvious to me until I used the word, I've enjoyed reading my first novel, and I realised, it's got joy in it. Basically, I was so sick of 2016. Celebrity deaths, Brexit and Trump. Something had to change, and it had to be turning my focus away from what's wrong to looking towards what's right. And I want more joy in my life. I'm becoming a bit of an expert in joy and going to lead a new community all around joy.
Well, I like that a lot. My hot water bottle gives me joy every night, Judith. And
your what does? Your hot
water bottle.
Yeah.
It gives me joy when I slide my feet down and there it is in its knitted cover. Oh, bliss and joy, in fact.
Well, simple pleasures, Nicola.
Simple pleasures indeed. Okay, project updates.
Yeah, you go.
Well, I'm hoping that the app will make lots more podcast downloads, because it will open our podcast up to a whole new market.
Yeah.
And the good news is that in Libsyn, we will be able to see that, because we should see a commensurate jump in download numbers.
Okay, that should be good.
Out, which would be nice. And
although you were saying that it doesn't look lovely until version 1.2.
Well, no, it doesn't look lovely, because the only thing it can do is repeat our logo, and it looks all right on my phone, but on certain platforms it doesn't look as good, because it takes a slice out of the logo rather than a square. So we've got to work that out. But they're going to supply me with all the different file sizes, shapes and sizes that I need for all the different platforms, and we're going to sort.
Okay.
But, I'm pretty good at tolerating things that can't be changed, but this is just, something that's got to be sorted, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing I was going to do was just quickly look at, just to see what platforms, because we were talking last week, weren't we, about the thing. I've made all the changes to the website, by the way.
Well done.
I don't muck about, Couldn't turn up this week and say I haven't done them, could I? After we'd inflicted them on everyone last week. Well, that's public accountability for you there, isn't it? I couldn't, having said I was going to do it, I couldn't not do it.
The listener, Nicola, is trying to remember her last password so that she can log in and do Libsyn.
Yeah, but you know what it is when you're under pressure and you're trying to do something with someone.
Chill.
Yeah, now there was something I wanted to check last week and we didn't have time to do it, that would have told us.
I said, I asked if there was a way of tracking from some particular thing. Yes, Sumo Me. You said we can do something with Sumo Me. And I went, that looks trackable. And you went, no, it's not.
No, it is. Sumo Me is trackable.
Quite. That's what I thought. Yeah, I was a bit surprised by your reply.
Okay. I might have misunderstood. Here we go. So this is the bit in Libsyn which tells you what platforms you're being listened to. Sorry. So in Libsyn and most other podcast hosts, you get sort of traffic, downloads, general countries and all that stuff. And if you look at the show, I'm looking at the show technology, and it's saying that Apple Core Media, whatever that is 47%. iTunes is 16%. And then it tells you Chrome, Mozilla, and other. So Mozilla is Firefox. So basically it's telling us how many people listen at the website, I think. How many people listen in iTunes?
Yeah.
And then I've got no idea what Apple Core Media is, which is the biggest chunk by far. So I need to find out what that is, don't I?
It's the one that seems likely to me to increase, because an app is on Apple Core Media, isn't it?
Yeah, I think probably what Apple Core Media is where people are subscribing to it through iTunes. But then the iTunes figures is when people are actually listening to it on the iTunes store.
Yeah, I think people are using iGadgets, iPhones and iPads probably.
Yeah, I need to find out. So yes, we can track because we can see. I can take a screenshot and then we can see if these figures go up now the app's been released.
Yeah.
Coming on to the Sumo Me. Oh, there's a rumble of thunder. For the listeners, we have had 2 or 3 power cuts this morning of varying length, and the internet was off earlier, which was not great. Sumo Me. Here we are.
No.
So with Sumo Me, what I've done is I've put one of those bars at the top that you can either use to get opt-ins if you've got the pro version of Sumo Me, or you can use to just put, a welcome mat or a smart bar, it's called. So if I go into my smart bar, which has been on for a week now, nearly, I can see that collecting clicks. Here we are. Oh, we've had 1 click out of 76 bars shown. That's not very exciting, is it? It's a 1.32 conversion at the moment.
A click would mean they were doing what?
It means that they have clicked through to subscribe on iTunes or to listen on iTunes, because that's what the bar says, subscribe on iTunes.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, you can't have more than 1 call to action on
No, indeed.
But at least it's being shown to people. And the other thing that I've left on is the slider out thing that Yarrow Starrick's plug-in. He's got quite a nice thing called Social Slider, a plug-in by Yarrow Starrick of entrepreneurs-journey.com. And what Social Slider does is you can set it to all of your social platforms or just 1 or 2. We've just got Facebook on. So it slides out and encourages people to like our page on Facebook.
Oh, nice.
I can't set it, unfortunately, to encourage people to join our group. Now, one thing we could talk about right now is, do you think we should get this smart bar to get people to join our private Facebook group rather than subscribing on iTunes?
No, because what we want them to do is hear the show, and we quite often mention in the show that they should come and join the group.
Yeah.
A point worth noting here is that when I do the Facebook notes, Facebook won't let me put a live link to a group. It will only let me put a live link to a page.
Oh, okay.
Which is annoying.
I'm just looking at the welcome mat on Sumo Me, which, do you know what a welcome mat is? It's like a section of the page that slides down that people can get rid of. You can use it to do all sorts of things. Let's see what happens if I click activate. Okay, so I'm just looking to see if we can use this welcome mat to encourage people to join the group. But if our most wanted action is for people to listen to the show,
I'm very happy to leave the Facebook thing on the slider and to be mentioned in the show. And I can live link to it in the notes. I just can't live link to it on the Facebook note.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll leave it as it is and track it for a month. So who or what's impressed then?
Well, I found a new crime novelist I like, and she's only written 20 plus novels in the one series that I'm into, and she's got about 3 series, so I'm never going to run out of reading material ever again. And her name is Dana, D-A-N-A, Stabenow, S-T-A-B-E-N-O-W. I got a free book downloaded from Kindle in December about an Alaskan American Indian called Kate Shugak, who's a crime solver. Loving it.
Marvellous.
Loving it.
That sounds really good. And she's got a Wikipedia page, and there's the Kate Shugak story series.
And she's got 3. If you go to her Amazon page, she's got about 3 series.
Oh,
but we love a nice feisty heroine, don't we? And this one is a feisty heroine.
We like to think of ourselves as we could have been Agatha Christie ourselves.
I don't know whether we could have written them. I don't think I can. Some of my clients write fiction. I don't think I can write fiction, plot fiction,
No, I don't think. I'm saying we actually could have been. What's her name? What was the heroine in Agatha Christie?
Kate. Oh, I don't know. I haven't read Agatha Christie since I was a teenager.
I always think I could have been a detective. Anyway, moving on. That's something to look forward to myself. I love it. Like you say, that thing when you find a new writer and you realise that they've got lots of books.
These are very gentle. They're only 100 and something pages. You're not there for months on end. I'm on the second one already, and I only did the other one over the weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're not taxing or anything. They're proper leisure reading as an alternative to junk television.
Oh, very nice. And I look forward to joining you in that series shortly when I finish my 3 months.
Indeed, you'll be a while. Tell me who or what impressed you.
Well, I'm afraid it's Phoebe again, because she has decided that she really wants to go for this whole video thing, and we've been talking about, how she can get other, what she can do for me, essentially, and then what she can do for other people. And I've come up with this thing, because what I want her to do for me is take the clips of video that I produce during the week and upload daily to a folder on Drive and turn it into a weekly B-zine. Because I figured that if this whole thing about, email marketing is going to die over the next 5 years, and the rise of the app is a way to keep in touch with people, I figure that the whole other thing of sending a weekly e-zine written or a list of links, which you quite rightly say is pretty boring, I'm figuring that I could create a series of 1 to 2 minute face-to-camera slots, and then in between those could be slotted, shots of the mountains or us walking up and down the hill or whatever. Speeded up those bits, Judith, speed it up. And then, of course, drone shots, etc. So I'm thinking Phoebe could stitch it all together for me in a creative, fun way into a V-zine, which could then go onto my Facebook page, go onto my YouTube channel, sent out to my newsletter to click through and watch it. And I'm quite excited about the whole idea. And I'm also quite excited about the idea that Phoebe could make a business around doing that for other business people. And no sooner did she gave up a job at the pub just before Christmas, which I wasn't massively keen on, but she is carrying on doing, odd shifts and everything. So I'm going to hire her to do my V-zine for me, and that will help her to build up a body of work that's not just her own videos. She's doing some social media work for her friend who's a fashion designer, and this morning she's had her first business meeting on her own, and that's what she was FaceTiming me to tell me, I think. And she's gone to see a chef character that we both know locally in Shoreham, and she's gone for a meeting with him because he wants her to make videos of him making food and to help his business, promote his business. He's actually a really cool guy. He's a bit older than me, but he's very up to date on everything. He was the first person I met in Shoreham who had a WordPress website, for example. But she's just embracing it and going for it, and she has moments of sheer terror and not knowing what she's, for example, I wanted her to do some idents for me, and she said, what do you want them to look like? And I said, well, go and have a look at Gary V's intro and let's see what we can do with my stuff. I've got quite a lot of footage of me on stage and photographs, and then stuff of Greece, and and she showed me within a day, she showed me a rough draft of something and said, is that the kind of thing you're thinking of? And it was absolutely 100% what I was thinking of. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited for her that she's seizing this passion and running with it, and that I've already come up with a business idea for her.
And more importantly, I think, are the fashion designer and the chef, because she's not related to either of them.
Yes, exactly. Well, to be fair, the fashion designer's a friend and she's not charging her, but we've worked out a thing where she does a month's worth of social media for her as a way of getting, that kind of work onto her portfolio. Because when you first start out with things, you have to do stuff for free sometimes, because if you get offered a great project and the person can't afford to pay you, but it's a great project that will look good on your website or your CV, you've got to do it, haven't you?
Yeah. You certainly have at her stage of life, yes.
Yeah, you do. And Peter won't expect her to do it for free, I'm sure. So, she's just been off for the meeting, and I said, Judith, something you said or I read on your website that was incredibly helpful. It was the thing where you were talking somewhere about what to do about talking about the money. And you said something very succinct, which was, what's the brief and what's the budget?
Yeah, absolutely. And that actually didn't come from me. It came from a writing client of mine called Sam. What's the brief and what's the budget? But
you shared it, and it was incredibly helpful, because I said to her, try not to talk about money on this first meeting. Just find out, talk about the creative and what he wants and what his outcome is and what he's going to use it for. Yeah. If we know what the brief is and we know what the budget is, we probably won't be able to do the entirety of the brief for that amount of money. But we can go back and say, what I can do for the budget of your brief as follows. Yeah. And it just gave her something to go into that meeting with. That if he asks, about money, she can just say, we're talking about, what you want today, and I'll go away and think about it. And then if you tell me,
It gives you the room to consult people like you and me in the middle.
Yes.
It gives you the breathing space not to undercharge.
Yeah.
It gives you the breathing space to work out whether you want to do this job anyway and how you're going to do this job and all sorts of other things like that. And it's professional. That's what it is.
Yeah, it makes you sound professional. Exactly.
Yeah.
She loved it, and she gave her the confidence to be able to go to this meeting. So
absolutely, yeah. And by and large, the person on the other end of it hasn't thought about either of those things. They just want to have a meeting about how expensive are you, so they can work out whether they can afford you. And actually, it has to happen the other way around.
Yes, it does. And anyone who's read Value-Based Fees by Alan Weiss will know that. It was a good shortcut reminder.
We're done, aren't we?
We are done. So thank you very much. See you soon.
Okay. See you next week. Yeah. Bye. Bye.
Gotta take it on my way. It's a brand new.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.